You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm.
Coming to you live from Worm Central. It's an invasion. It's pandemonium. It is, as we call it here, interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast. Just gotta throw it out there.
Our lawyers have advised us to make sure that we highlight the unofficial Rick and Morty podcasting. Hello, everybody. My name is Travis.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brandon, and welcome to As They Shay, the show. It is a sewing show that we just.
This is a quilting podcast. It always has been, always will be. Yeah. Welcome to Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast. We're so happy you're here joining us, whether you have been a listener for a long time or whether you just happened to stumble upon this podcast very recently. We're so happy you're here. We're so happy that you're joining us as we get ready, only a couple of short weeks away from the start of season 6 of Rick and Morty. And we have quite a few things to talk about. But before we get into all of those things, if you are new here and you want to follow along with everything that we're doing over on the internet, you can follow us in a number of places. Of course, we are over on Twitter at Rick and Morty Pod. You can find us on Facebook. We're at the Facebooks. Facebook.com/Rick and Morty Podcast. Rick and Morty Podcast over on Instagram. And you can send us an email, rickandmortypodcast@gmail.com. We are also all over the internet on Reddit, rickandmorty.reddit.com, or our subreddit, rickandmortypodcast.reddit.com. Thanks to some folks out there adding some posts and hanging out over on our actual subreddit. It's good to see you guys out there. And then finally, we have our own website, rickandmortypod.com. That's where you can find episodes, all of the episodes of this podcast. Big hello to everybody that's joining us live over on Twitch for the live stream Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern approximately is when we try to get started. But that's over at twitch.tv/apathetic enthusiasm. And if you miss the live stream, you can catch video versions of the podcast at youtube.com/apathetic enthusiasm. Finally, big shout out to all the patrons over at patreon.com/apathetic enthusiasm for your support of the show. We appreciate you. Thank you for your continued support. Brandon.
Sorry.
How was your day?
It's going good right now because my window is I got the blinds up a little bit so I can see outside, and my wife, no headphones, no music playing whatsoever, is just dancing, watering the lawn. I'm like,
that's the sign of just like joy, right? Like dancing with no music, outside in nature, watering the lawn. Yeah, that's awesome.
Both of us had nature days, and that's really what has brought us and kept us close together. It's nature.
It's good, nature. Well, I will say, I mean, if you're looking at the title of this podcast, we definitely have a lot of things to talk about in terms of the new event that's going on with Rick and Morty. But before we get into all of that, we will start this episode, as we have so many others, with our first segment, which we lovingly call Semi-Pertinent News.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. It's semi-pertinent news. Do-do-do-do-do-do. It's news time. Yeah, I went a little bit minimal. After last week's, I went really long, to make myself laugh. But I realized that perhaps there will be more people who this is their first time ever.
You are
to the
so
show.
In your head right now, and it is amazing to me. I love it. Don't just let it go, man. You're good. You're good.
I can't. I have to be somebody else. I have to be somebody who people like. Anyway, semi-pertinent news, everybody. We want to start with a little bit of semi-pertinent news. Semi-pertinent old news. Old semi-pertinent news. I meant to shout this out like a month and a half ago, and so I apologize. We got an email from Sean Harsh, who sent us a story that the Szechuan sauce is being released in Australia, and everybody knows how much we love the Szechuan sauce.
So delicious.
We love it. We die for it. So anyways, if you're in Australia, if you're a listener in Australia, you probably already know this, and you probably already know that the inclusive dates were 6 to 19 July. So it is already off the shelves.
How did you sneak this into the episode? Semi-pertinent old news. Okay, so the sauce was in Australia. Cool. There's a whole podcast devoted to this that we don't recommend you listen to. Like, I don't know, like, we're years removed from the sauce at this point, and
Yeah.
it was a thing. I think I didn't hate the sauce. I would still probably occasionally get the sauce if it was readily available, but I don't know. I'm over the sauce, man. I'm over it.
You're over it. You're over the sauce. No, that's fine. I'm too over the sauce. I think basically everyone's been over the sauce for all these years. But if you have a time machine, you really want to get some sauce, fresh sauce. The freshest you're going to get is in Australia from 6 to 19 July 2022. Thanks for joining us on that little bit of side news. Travis, let's move away from that. Let's go to more current events. The next little bit of news we have is video game time. That's right. Video game time. Whereas Szechuan was last month in July. Bad news. High on Life, the game by Squanch Games,
That's right.
delayed till 13 December.
Yeah, we talked about this game in our last episode, I believe, and we were like, "Yeah, it's coming out any day now." And then it wasn't.
It wasn't at all. It's getting released for Xbox. It's going to be on Game Pass and PC later on in the year, exclusive at least for a little bit of time. But the Squanch Games said in a statement, as we work to polish the best possible gaming experience for High on Life, the game's release date will be moved. The team at Squanch Games is excited for you to play, and we thank you for your continued patience and support. It's going to be badass. I'm looking forward to it. It might be the first person shooter game that I've played. Well, I guess maybe since Rainbow Six Extraction, which was kind of a standalone.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too worried about this. A couple of extra months to polish up some things. You know, software's tricky, and and so is product management, which is why like we gotta cut them some slack. I would much rather that they take the time to iron out those kinks and deliver a quality product than rush to market like some cyberpunk something or other and have the game be all buggy and all sorts of other things. So yeah, I think this is this is fine.
As a side note about game development, going through that product management, right, learning a lot about lean and agile methodology, extreme programming. What I will say is I used to be against like beta, like the Steam preview and all that type of stuff. Like, just give me a game. Just give me a game that's complete. The more I get into that world, I'm like, you know what? Okay, I
get it. Oh, it's an empirical process, and we're going to learn from these things. Stay tuned for me and Brandon's new podcast on design thinking coming in 2029. I don't know.
Well, we're both actually experts at it. Okay.
Yeah.
We all know what time it is now. Moving on from video game news over there at Squanch Games to video game news over at WB and Player First Games. It's our multiverse update. Go. If you're listening to this on the 22nd of August, well, I got good news for you. Morty is now released for Multiverses tomorrow on the 23rd.
Okay.
But if you're listening to it on the 23rd, then it's I screwed it up, didn't I?
Morty's out now, unless you're watching us live. Morty's out now on Multiverses. Go check it out. If you've been playing Multiverses, you're probably already tracking this news. But I am very excited to spend all of the coins, the gold that I've earned in game on this new character. because I haven't really played the game in like a week, and so maybe this will get me to try it out again.
You need 3,000 coins, Travis. So if you're not quite there yet, start grinding because he's an expert character. Stay
tuned on twitch.tv/apathetic enthusiasm for me live streaming me grinding to 3,000 gold on Multiverses. Come play along very soon.
Very slowly, very like, oh, damn it, I got another 100 gold.
Yeah, it is not fast. It's almost like they're trying to get me to spend money on the free game or something.
Founders Pack.
Weird. Anyway, that's the video game news. Yeah, that's pretty much all the semi-pertinent news we have, except
that's it. With the exception of one final bit. Is that the reference? The Dan Harmon social media minute.
Dan Harmon social media. All right.
Boom.
So, week to week episodes, guys. It's nothing but interdimensional RSS, which gives us less time for Dan Harmon to develop and create his social media gold that he then releases over at Dan Harmon on Instagram. But we have a couple of nuggets, and these both involve Dan Harmon's dogs. So this first one is it's just kind of like a zoomed in video of Dan Harmon giving his dog belly rubs and then panning up to his dog's face, and his dog has a chew toy in his mouth and he is just zonked out. There's no caption. There's no caption on this at all. The dog looks comatose. And then if you go to the other post, there is a video, another video of one of Dan's dogs, again, completely just laid out on the bed, laying on its back with a bone in his mouth. Dan actually going up and like checking to see if the dog is all right, and you can hear some chatter in the background with him and his fiance. But yeah, dogs are cool. Dogs are
great.
fun.
I have a Chihuahua. She doesn't bark a whole heck of a lot, but we just found out that Chihuahuas could live a long time.
Yeah.
Like somebody had a Chihuahua that lived till she was like 25 or something like that. I'm like, oh crap! Like this dog should not live that long. I love her, but you know.
Yeah. I know. My wife and I were sitting there last night in our bed. The dog was just laying there all cute and sleeping, and petting the dog, and my wife just looks at me and says, "Can you believe she's gonna die one day?"
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sheena.
Yeah, it was a real mood killer, Sheena. Great
Positive.
Anyway, that's Dan Harmon social media minute. That if you want to follow Dan Harmon, he's on Instagram. Go follow him. But I'm not gonna tell you what you do with your life. If you're not following any of the Rick and Morty social media accounts, then this might be news to you. But if you have been paying attention on any of those accounts, well, then we're going to get into a whole lot of details in a segment we like to call The Main Thing.
Worms, main thing. That's it. I have actual music, and so I didn't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to play the actual music for that segment. All right, so here's the deal. Wormageddon is upon us. Let's pull back the curtain a little bit here, right? So, we have talked about Wormageddon in the last couple of episodes. There's been a lot of teasers and promotion over on Rick and Morty's website, hinting at Wormageddon. And we talked a little bit about it last week that, okay, Wormageddon's going to be some sort of like maybe alternate reality game or something that's going on. We should cover it on the podcast. We should talk about it. Maybe we could even dedicate an entire episode to Wormageddon before we jump into like priming for season 6. We'll have one episode between Wormageddon and the start of the season. Kind of works out perfectly. Maybe we can follow along with the website, give updates from week to week. Brandon come up with some cool music like back in the Blood Dome Battle League days, and that was the plan. That was the plan for the last probably 2 weeks, was to make this a Wormageddon episode, and that plan has not wavered at all. So,
it sounded like that plan was going to waver. So I was on the edge of my seat. I'm like, we're not talking about that. We're going to talk about something else.
No, we're going to talk about baked salmon. No, we'll save that for the post show over on twitch.tv/apathetic. All right. So for those of you that either are not following on socials or just have not been in the loop, let's break down first and foremost, what is Wormageddon? We've gotten more information since last week, but let's kind of get the details about what this event is and how people can participate.
Okay. Is that my cue? I'm so in my head right now.
Throwing the mic to you to talk, Brandon.
Let's start again. Let's learn how to podcast over the last 7 years again. All right. So yeah, let's talk about what Wormageddon is. So here's how this all started, and I'm going to use Adult Swim's press release to help me navigate.
So handy that we have that available to us.
Our world is being invaded by alien space worms. Basically, a bunch of right around the time of Adult Swim Fest, a video came out, a Citadel secret. The people who were there, who watched an episode of season 6 of Rick and Morty, they also saw this video at the end, a Citadel secret. And in that video, it's just going up to an egg that's in kind of a test tube. The egg is starting to break, and that was kind of it. And like, okay, and I don't know if that's when the website premiered or not, but eventually
I think it was, yeah.
Okay. A second video then popped up, a Journey to Earth, and that was the egg shooting down to Earth, landing in a volcano, and these worms coming out of it. What we found eventually was this website had timers on it. So after 11 days, 14 days, whatever, we were expecting a new video to come out, and we didn't know what this was yet. We thought, is it a tie-in to season 6? We don't. Maybe this is what season 6 is going to be all about. Maybe that's the overarching plot that's going to happen in season 6, and this is to get us hyped up for it. Nobody really knew what it was, and then the video threat level Wormageddon came out, and that is where Rick is alerted to Wormageddon, where these massive alien worms are attacking. There's like Bird Person there, Mr. Nimbus is there, Gearhead is in that video, a bunch of people who
Mr. Butthole, there's quite a few.
And so it is then revealed that what Wormageddon is this kind of alternate reality game, scavenger hunt-esque type of game for the fans that takes place in real life. And so that brings us to essentially Thursday or so of last week, to have this kind of interactive episode for the fans waiting for September 4th, essentially.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously speculation aside, like, once they came out with those last videos and they sort of opened up the other part of the Wormageddon website, which is again available over at rickandmorty.com. We went from one countdown timer to like a lot of countdown timers, right? Because it opened up all of these locked locations, and if you go to the website, you'll be able to see all of the spaces where there are still things to come, right? But then you also get to see dates on when other things opened up, and the first location to open up was in Mexico City. And so this happened a couple of days ago, but we got a YouTube video, like a little bit of video shared on social media of this really awesome statue that was somewhere in Mexico City. You see these weird alien worms literally like breaking out of the ground, and fighting the worms are Beth and what's her name? Supernova?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay,
from the
that's good.
Vindicators, huh?
My brain's not working, so that's good
fine.
enough. Yeah.
It's close enough. But so they're fighting these worms, and it's really cool, and you can see all around it. But with that, like it like immediately showed where the location was.
Mhm.
Part of what was going on with this is that they have 9 collectibles, right, that are available. So across Wormageddon, if you are the first person to find one of these locations where these worm statues are, then there are 9 life-size golden Rick statues that the first person to find them would be able to claim the prize, right? And so with the Mexico City thing, like they'd shown the location, so I was confused. Like, was there one there? And I think we realized pretty quickly, oh no, that's not one you have to find. That's just one that's there, and they kind of like tell the location already, and people could go look for it if they want to find it.
So essentially, how the announcement came out was, okay, there's going to be this worldwide scavenger hunt, and I emphasize the worldwide because all 14 of these locations are going to be spread throughout the world, different continents, different countries, with the exclusion of a few, and those are in the rules if you're really interested to find out which of those countries, like North Korea, are not involved in this campaign.
Okay.
But it's worldwide. What we noticed real quickly, one of the first things I did, I was like, oh, okay. I'll be honest, I was a little underwhelmed when it was first announced because oh, that's what it is. It's not a season 6 thing. It's a tie to season 6, but not really a direct tie necessarily. It's for the fans. And so I was trying to reconciling my excitement of that. So then I'm like digging deep down into it, going into the rules of the game. And like in the fine print, it talks about, and this was, I think, the 18th or the 19th, it talks about the challenge period of the game, and it says 9 prizes. Okay, so then I look back, there's 14 sites, there's only 9 prizes. Okay, the actual challenge period for getting one of these prizes is actually Monday, which is today. Is it today the 23rd? I don't know what day it is.
Today's the 22nd, but yeah.
Okay, so it starts today. Maybe I misread it. Okay, so don't listen to me. Anyway, so I knew that really like the clues on the page were not going to be starting to get released for these secret sites until today at least.
Yeah.
And that the other 5 locations would not be released necessarily immediately. I thought they'd be released day to day, but it turns out they're releasing them over the course of the entire event. Okay. So what is the prize, right? Well, actually, let me take a step back. It's supposed to offer clues, and so this is like an alternate reality game. And so one of the original kind of directions we wanted to go with this episode was talk about alternate reality games, not just talk about Wormageddon, but talk about alternate reality games in general. We're not going to go deep dive that deeply into it, but for those who don't know what ARGs are, you could just consider them viral marketing campaigns, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
So like we wrote down like Lost, in between seasons of Lost, they talk about the Hanzo Foundation, and like as a fans, you dig into that. You're like, oh, maybe this will give us hints into the next season. Oh my God, we're gonna find the mystery. Well, I sound like
Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah.
And
we were totally involved with those, by the way. Like 20 years ago, we were definitely playing those ARGs.
Well within it. Like Blair Witch Project is an example of that kind of, right? Like the whole thing with Blair Witch was to make it seem like it was a real thing. Yeah. That's kind of what the alternate reality stuff is going is for real people to dig deep into whatever the subject is, look for more stuff. Battle of Blood Ridge, which was featured in season 5 of Rick and Morty, that was initially brought up in between season 2 and season 3 on the Rick and Morty website. There's this whole big slew of stuff. And we thought going into season 3, oh my God, it's gonna be this is what it's gonna be. It's gonna be about him taking down the Galactic Federation or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
it was all wiped out within the first episode. Yeah. Completely brushed under the rug. I will say after early impressions of Wormageddon, I think in terms of alternate reality games, this seems really cool. We only have 2 locations that are known right now. I'm very curious to see how worldwide or how global this will actually be, because right now we're still on one continent. But I don't know. Like I think it's really cool. I think the idea behind it is kind of cool. Like you can take a one-off story like worms that were in the Citadel getting miraculously transported to Earth, and then attacking kind of gives a sense of unity and flow throughout all of these statues wherever they are. And obviously we've only seen a couple of them. But these statues are something that are going to exist over a long period of time. Hopefully they'll all be co-located somewhere where fans can go and see them, once the event is over. But for now, they can at least go and see them wherever they are if one is nearby to where they live. So I think that's pretty cool.
For sure. Yeah. I think it's cool to have this kind of interactive episode. I'm hoping there's still more counters on the website for videos to unlock. I think the next one is in a couple days, 7 days. Up. Yeah, I'm sure you do. Oh, that's Twitter. Yeah,
there's a pending transmission in 7 days, and there are 2 additional transmissions after that. So yeah, more transmissions to follow.
To follow, indeed. So that was in Mexico City, the first one that was released this morning. This is where the adventure time starts for Brandon. Yeah. This morning, the Rick and Morty Twitter account and all their social media, they released the first clue of the second location. So the first, again, is in Mexico City. The second clue, which to clarify, Mexico City was just revealed. It was just revealed.
Yeah.
Five of these sites are just going to be revealed, and there's no prize associated with it.
Yeah.
The clue was specifically for now the challenge period. I don't know if you have the clue written.
Oh, I
up.
do, Brandon. Would you like me to read it?
I would love you to read what the clue was.
So approximately 12 hours ago, clue number 1 was released that says, "Don't come here. This is my private spot to sit on my throne and smell the ocean air. After I eat 6 ! Square pies minus minus the 1,077 grams of burnt crust I scrape off. I can't be late to go down the canyon road, or a bunch of rich a-holes will see my 21 miles of scenic beauty. So stay away. Say Rick to win the prize." And then there's a picture of like Rick hanging out in Morty's bedroom, and Morty doesn't have a shirt on for some reason. But that was clue number 1 that was released at about 9 a.m. Eastern this morning.
Yeah. So what's interesting is I've been teleworking. I've been working from home. And when I'm working from home, that means that I wake up earlier and I don't have to commute. So I'm just there, just hanging out, getting ready for now my regular job. And so I saw this come out. I sent it to you, and I was just looking at it. I'm like, all right, well, it looks like it's in Malibu. And I'll say why I thought it looked like it was from Malibu in a second. And
how far is Malibu from where you live, Brandon?
It's about an hour away.
Oh,
Malibu is about an hour away. Yeah.
All right. Interesting.
And I thought to myself, yeah, it's an hour away. It's probably too late now. Somebody's probably already found it, and there's no point in me leaving the house. Which is really just an excuse for me to not have to meet people. And be in uncomfortable situations and drive somewhere too.
Yeah.
No, I don't need. I guess I probably don't need to go down there. That's no.
And for the listeners' benefit, Brandon and I rarely go too many hours, let alone days, without talking to each other via text message. It's a pretty steady flow of consciousness, and so a lot of this conversation, these thoughts are happening through our message feed, and you're like, yeah, no, it's like an hour away. Like, I don't need to go. Probably won't find it. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, sure, except, of all of the places in the world where it could be, this is probably the closest either one of us will ever get to one. But yeah, I mean, if you don't want to go, you don't have to. But I mean, it's only an hour away if you wanted to go check it out. And I don't know.
Yeah. So,
cover something for the podcast, like grab some recording equipment, maybe go meet the winner or get some pictures or do something. Like,
yeah.
What better do you have to do? Telework? Jeez, get out of here.
You said that stuff to me, and I stood up from this desk, the chair that I'm in right now, reluctantly, like went to the bathroom, brushed my teeth, shaved, got cleaned up, put on deodorant, which I've been sweating through all day long. I told my wife, hey, I'm going to Malibu. I'm gonna go see a Rick and Morty thing. kind of not excited. She's like, don't pretend like you're not thrilled to go down there. I'm like,
bless our wives for putting up with us and our nonsense when I would drive like an hour to go see a Rick Mobile on a weekend afternoon. Yeah.
So you might be. So I cleaned up, got in my car, and I put it in the GPS, a site down in Malibu. Now you might be asking, well, how did you know it was in Malibu? Well, let me tell you how
I was wondering that because I was doing like weird math equations, trying to like multiply 6 factorial minus 1,000 and all these things, and I was coming up with places in like India. So I was not doing well.
Well, so I looked at it first, and then I looked at the math. So obviously there was some math stuff, like
sure.
The 6 exclamation point times 2 pies and minus the burnt crust, right? I'm like, okay, obviously there's some math here, and so I'm not a math guy. I know I'm wearing glasses. I should be a math guy, but I'm not a math guy. And I came up with a number, and then I looked at the clue again, and the thing that had jumped out to me was 21 miles of scenic beauty by the ocean, rich assholes. And let me just say, if it says rich assholes, ocean views, and 21 miles of scenic beauty, I'm thinking of Malibu.
As a native Los Angelino, you're immediately clued into Malibu.
I'm not saying everybody in Malibu is a rich asshole, and it's really just an envy thing. I just wish I was rich like you. But so what I I've said that about Malibu before, because not maybe like 3 weeks ago, I was in Oxnard and I was driving to work down in LA, and I took PCH, and I drove through 21 scenic miles of beauty through Malibu, and I said, I've never felt so inadequate in my life. So I'm like, okay, Malibu. I Googled 21 miles of scenic beauty. Sure enough, if you Google that, it shows up with Malibu. There's actually a sign when you enter Malibu. It says 21 miles of scenic beauty. So I'm like, okay, I know it's down there. Using my bad math, I forget how I did it. I like 6 times pi squared. So really what I ended up doing was, it's really weird. It still got me down there. I did 3.14 times 3.14 times 3.14 that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then did the minus 1077, and it actually got me like in the coordinates like negative 118. And if you look at what negative 118, and I think I clicked down on in Malibu area too, just to kind of check what it is. And negative 118 is actually in Malibu. So I'm like, oh, okay. So all right. I'm pretty sure my math is wrong, but maybe I forgot to carry a 1 or something.
Yeah.
And so I just put that in the GPS, and I started driving. And so the closer I got to Malibu, of course, I would stop in parking lots being a safe driver that I am, I wouldn't be driving and texting or anything because that's illegal and I don't want to get ticketed. Why would I do that?
That's smart that you took that time, Brandon.
Of course. Safety first. I always say that. I always say that.
Yeah, I'm sick of hearing it.
Every time I stopped in a parking lot and put the parking brake on, took another drive. I would look at Twitter, and so there's a couple of different sites that ended up popping up. Like some folks that were trying to solve this as well.
Yeah.
There was a couple different folks that, like, there was one site that they referred to, like maybe it's this backbone trail going up in Malibu. So I'm like, okay, I put that in my GPS. It felt like it was on the way, and it wasn't even in the city limits of Malibu once I got there.
Yeah.
But I stopped and checked more Twitter and also peed in their little hiking bathroom. Like, all right, it's not there. Get back on Twitter. There were a few folks, and I want to shout out the few folks that noticed this. They had the address for the place. They had coordinates, and like 3 or 4 people got the same answer. I'm like, okay, 3 or 4 people got the same answer. I bet 3 or 4 people at least are going to be going to this site. I will also go to this site. And the entire time I'm driving, I'm thinking, oh, I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I think one person said, I think this was Karen's HQ at 63% water, said, if it's not at this place, then some rich person is going to be mad that they keep having Rick yelled into their intercom. So, okay, went to the first place. It was wrong. I put the second place into my GPS, and I started navigating there. It's off PCH, Pacific Coast Highway. Highway 1 goes right down the coast through Malibu, coast of California, and got to the small Canyon Road, because Canyon is in the clue too.
It's in the clue. I think it even actually says go down the Canyon Road. Like, it says Canyon Road. Like, yeah.
So driving up, I pass a fancy looking driveway. The gate is closed. The intercom is there. I'm like, okay, it's not there. My GPS still says it's about like maybe 2 or 3 blocks up. I'm like, okay. And I get up to like a driveway, and the gate is open. It's like a white gate, like white pillars. The gate is wide open. And as I drive past, I slow down a little bit, and I look down, and there's a woman down there, and she's
Dan Harmon
like,
is standing in the driveway.
Hey, over here! Come on down!
He's just doing woodwork and rubbing his dog's belly. Like, it's weird. Yeah.
I am actually in the Instagram video for the Dan Harmon social media minute. I'm actually the dog with
You're the dog getting the belly rubs. Yeah.
So there's like yellow tape down there. I'm like, I mean, it looked like a big nice yard. So I'm like, I don't want to go down there. And so I pull off to the side. I don't want to go in. There's no signs or anything.
Yeah.
I don't want to just pull in somebody's house. So I drive up the road a little bit. I'm like, no, let me go back down and like slowly pass by. And I'm like trying to avoid traffic as I'm making a U-turn on this canyon road. Like, looking down the driveway. No, that's probably not it. I'll check out one of the third locations. And so I got back all the way down to the PCH. And what I had noticed driving up was there was like a really expensive, I'll just say a Lotus.
Okay.
Lamborghini, Ferrari. It was an expensive looking car.
It was car that's too expensive for us to know what it is or how much it costs.
Yeah. It was there parked when I first pulled up that Canyon Road. When I came back down, it was still parked there. And I'm like, and so when I saw that, I was like, I mean, we are in rich neighborhoods, but why is that car parked on this like really small, dingy road? So I pulled off to the side. I sat there for maybe about like 20, 30 seconds looking at Twitter again. And I thought about that open driveway, and I thought about the gated yards with the intercoms going up to it. That one was open. And I thought, yeah, fuck it. Like what's the harm if I go down there and I see if that's the place, and I just go down there. If it's somebody who's not associated with Adult Swim or Rick and Morty at all, I can just ask, hey, is this Rick's house? And if they say no, then I can be like, all right, I guess I'm sorry, my bad. What are they gonna do? Ticket me? Or are they gonna arrest me? Or are they gonna,
okay. All right.
So,
fortune favors the bold, Brandon. Exactly.
And I don't know if you know this about me, Travis, but that's not. I mean, I'm not like that.
That is
like,
very much not in your character to just be like, let me go talk to a stranger and just jump right head first into conflict.
Very, very, very scary. Very, very, very scary. I'm just trying to change. You got me down there. I'm trying to lessen my anxiety about networking and talking to new people, talking to strangers. Right, trying to get back into just being a person that can then communicate with folks. Anyway, so I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's try it out. So I go down the driveway. I see that same lady, and she's talking to a security guard, and they look at me, and I roll down my window. And I put my head out. I'm like, hey, is this Rick's place? Super cool.
You really said that like that?
Yeah.
Hey, this is Rick's place.
Hey, yo, I heard Rick's place is here.
Hey, I'm walking here. All right. Okay. And they just looked at you.
And they said, "Get out." And that was the end of my story. I'm actually, this is in prison. Malibu, they're very, very, very
very
connected.
strict. Very strict.
So they said, yeah, go ahead and park over there. And as I was like kind of pulling in reverse to go park.
So what is your thought when they're like, yeah, just go ahead and park over there?
Well, my first thought was, there's not a lot of cars here, because there was only 2 cars there. That was the other thing that like threw me off when I first passed it, was that there was only 2 cars in there, and there's residential stuff in there. Like there's a couple of houses, and there's like I'm like, that's weird. So they say, just go and park over there. And as I'm like backing up, I said, hey, how many other people are here? And she's like, you're the only one. Like, what the fuck? Like, oh, cool. And then like my nerves like shot up like another exponential amount. And I'm parking, and I don't have cell service. That was part of the reason I didn't go anywhere either. I didn't have cell service, and so I was waiting by that expensive ass car trying to get cell service. And that's when I made the decision, like, okay, let me just try it since I'm here.
Yeah.
So I didn't text you. I didn't text anybody else. I just started walking. She's like, yeah, just follow this trail. You'll see a trail, this hiking trail. It's about a third of a mile to the top, and see what you find. So it was a nice little trail. She did say, it is a little bit physical, so, but you look spry enough. I said, yes, cool. Yes. I tricked another person. So I got at the top. I took about 20 minutes to catch my breath. No, just joking. Walking up this hill, you cross a little sign that says, past this point, Adult Swim will be filming. And, like, I'm like, do they start filming as soon as I walk past this place?
Are they looking at me right now?
Should I perform right now? Should I be in my head right now? Yeah. Ooh, hey, ooh, whoa. Like they can make there was like looked like a tombstone for like a fox that had died, or a dog that had died. And I said, hey dog. I don't know why. I don't know. I was like, I feel like, hey dog, nice to meet you. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here.
Pay your respects to the dog.
Respect to the dogs. I mean, it's dog trail.
Jeez.
Okay, so I walk all the way to the top of this trail. I get to it's not the peak, but it's the peak where the sculpture is. This Rick sculpture is, and it's the sculpture of Rick sitting on a toilet, and there's a giant worm, and Rick's reading a newspaper. He's like not even paying attention to the worm. This worm's just doing his thing, and I'm just like, I just smile like, I'm not bad. I'm not great with feeling like showing excitement. Chelsea knows I'm not great with showing excitement.
Sure.
So I walk up to the statue, like I'm smiling, I'm happy. And I see, like, kind of in the distance up on the mountain, there's a cameraman for Adult Swim, and then there's another woman who's kind of in the distance. And I walk up, and I'm like, I don't know if there's a speaker on this thing or what. And I think I'm supposed to say Rick. Huh? Is there an intercom on this thing? I think I'm supposed to say Rick. And the Adult Swim rep comes out. She's like, you said Rick, yay, yay! And I just do like my
they dunk a gallon of Gatorade on you.
Start shaking me. And so, I mean, that was it. Like, she came and she, like, congratulations, and then the dude came down. He's like, congratulations, and I'm like, I don't know how to process it. How do you feel? Like, I feel great.
Just curl into the fetal position and start crying on the ground.
And as I'm walking up, I know that I'm gonna be on camera, and I'm in my head, obviously, now, right?
Yeah.
And just walking up, knowing, shit, what am I gonna say? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna act? Am I gonna pretend to be, like, super excited? Like, that's not me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just be dorky and nerdy and awkward as I am normally.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. So that's it. And then they kicked me out, and that was the end of it.
So
First one.
So Augustus Gloop here. First to find a golden ticket. So you get there, you are the first to congratulate you. Do you want to share with our viewing audience what you won, Brandon?
Yeah, of course. So as I open up this box, it's bad podcast editing to talk away from the microphone.
That's fine.
But so they hand me this custom made Rick and Morty Wormageddon box.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So it's like this black rectangular box, printed with the logo on either side, a seam, sort of down the half. There's straps across the top. It's a black box.
You're great with descriptions.
It opens. The sides fold down. There's tons of styrofoam inside.
And it's a custom made box.
It's an empty
and
box.
That's what it's an empty made. It's an empty custom made Wormageddon box.
Yeah.
Now, what was actually in it, for those watching, for those listening, was this gigantic gold Rick head.
It shines, like, so shiny.
It is on a base of. It's like he's putting his head out of a portal. He's sticking his head out of a portal, a golden portal, leading directly into season 6. The golden portal.
Golden portal.
But yeah, this Rick head. It is. These are the common questions that I've been asked, Travis, and so I will now answer them. How much does it weigh? My answer on Twitter is maybe as light as a bread box or a half carton of Capri Sun. And so, like, it's about 4 pounds, 5 pounds, or something like that. It is kind of hollow in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's not super heavy. I think somebody in the comments talked about, like, obviously it's not that heavy. He's holding it with one arm, which is true.
The Instagram comments, they're like, clearly it's not solid gold the way he's holding it. Here, I'll put up the picture for people that they're like, oh, that skinny dude, he's holding it like that. That can't be solid gold.
Very weak.
Yeah, the picture up on the stream right now. This is the photo that all of the official Rick and Morty social networks posted of you winning the prize. So thousands, if not 1 million, people have now seen your face across social media goofily holding this prize that you have.
Very, very goofily holding. And
Yes.
like I stand like power pose with my arm on my hand on my hip. Do like, ooh, little chip on my shoulder. I made a stupid, I made a lot of very, very
In
awkward
classic
jokes, right?
Brandon fashion. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man. And so I hung out with them for a little bit. I talked to them about how I found it, which is basically exactly how I described it here.
Yeah.
And talked to him for a little bit, and then signed a release, and then had me on my way. And it was
Did
just,
any other
and
people
eventually I got,
show up while you were there, or?
yeah, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. So I've been talking to the two folks, the cameraman and the producer, I guess, for maybe about like 5-10 minutes, and then another gentleman started walking up, and he was like, and if you want to know the story, I think you can follow him on him or somebody who knows him or knows of him at Dan Kelly Nickel on Twitter. But essentially, he was like, "Hey, my boss. I worked at a surf shop down here in Malibu, and my boss told me about that this might be a place. So I walked over here and walked up here. Here it is." And I'm like, all right, cool.
Cool.
Super cool dude. Like he took a picture of it. He didn't want to be in the picture, but he took a picture of holding it in his arm. He was holding it like I was. Well, actually, that's my arm hand in the picture that he has. Actually, if you go to Dan Kelly, that's my arm.
You can photo credit of Brandon's arm in the photo. Yeah.
I demand royalty. So he was the second one up there, and then like, do you want to take a picture with it? He's like, it's cool. I got the picture already. And then he walked back down. And so then I talked to them for a little bit longer, and then I started heading down the mountain with this box, and obviously the head.
Sure.
Got down to
the casual stroll down the mountain with a head in a box. Classic Brandon Monday activities.
Ever since I saw 7, I said, I need to have a head in a box.
What's in the box?
When I got to the base of the trail, there was a man and maybe his girlfriend, maybe his wife, or maybe just a friend, a female companion. They were walking up, and his name is Vinny. I don't have any social media for him,
Sure.
but he's like, hey, did you see it? Is there anything up there? Like, yeah, the sculpture's up there. Like, oh, did they already give the head away? I'm like, yeah, like I got it right here, man. And
Yep.
I put blood at the
just
base.
missed it by mere minutes.
I just got there and I'm already gone. That's how fast it was. And he's like, he was so. I told Chelsea, my wife. Chelsea, my wife.
Yeah, no.
Everybody else.
Everybody knows.
I told her. I mean, maybe he should have been number 1 because he was so excited just to be there, just to see it. He's like, "Oh my god, that's so cool, man! That's so cool." He's like, "Can I take a picture?" I'm like, yeah, you can hold it, and I'll take a picture of it for you. He's like, oh, "No way! All right, yeah." And I took a picture of it. He's like, "Oh man, it is." And so he was number 3. So he was number 3,
Mm-hmm.
and he got there before me. He was there before me. But what he had done is he was also afraid of going into that spot. So he actually drove up further up the canyon and thought maybe this is where it is. Maybe it's further up at the top of the canyon.
Yeah.
And he said he was, trying to like using the intercom, be like, Rick? And, So yeah. He was there. He said he was like, "How long did you get here?" And I was like, I got here like 8:40 or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got here like I got here like 7:40. Maybe he said 7.
Jeez.
He'd been there. He was quick with the quickness.
Well, as a
do
longtime fan of the show, The Amazing Race, small detours or mistakes can cost you the entire race. So sometimes luck is a factor in these things, and clearly it was on your side today.
It is very, very, very true. So luck is a factor. I knew it was in Malibu. I started driving down to Malibu. Here's the thing about this whole, all of the Wormageddon stuff for the 9 secret locations.
I have to show this.
They're across the world, and because they're across the world, there is a part of it that is, you just have to be in the place where they have one of these statues. You have to be in the right place, maybe at the right time, maybe with the flexibility of a telework schedule.
Sure.
Um, we joked that of course it's in LA, the first one.
Yeah, we did. We and we joked even ahead of time, like, if anyone has a shot, it's more likely you, because me and the planes, the odds of them dropping one in the middle of, Oklahoma is probably less likely than, hey, I know a guy in Malibu who will let us use his driveway. So
Yeah.
And the first one's in LA, but the rest hopefully will still be spread out across the world, and fans across the world will get to see some of these and get a chance to visit them. So you're experiencing all of this. It's an amazing once in a lifetime moment for you. I go to a meeting at work, right? You're like, I'm driving, I'm gonna go check it out. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to this meeting, and then I get out of the meeting, I check my phone, and all it says is, like, I found it, LOLOL, and just a bunch of LOLs, and then like nothing.
Which is what I do.
And then I'm like responding. I'm like, are you kidding? You found it? I think you said something like, I'm the first one here or something. I'm like, no way, that can't be. Like, I don't believe it. And I'm texting you like crazy. You're not responding. I text you on Facebook Messenger. I text you on your actual like phone number. I'm about to like send a carrier pigeon. I'm getting flashbacks to the April Fool's episode when you were hiking in Hawaii and they premiere the brand new season premiere, and then I'm just like, why can't I get a hold of Brandon right now? Like, where the heck is he? So finally you respond back to me and you're like, yeah, like I was the first one. Or like you were like, I found it. You start sending me like pictures, and they're nondescript pictures. It's like only pictures of the statue, not where it is, not you with the statue. And then I'm like, wait, like, was it you? Like, did you really win? And you're like, I can't confirm or deny. And then you send a picture of like your shirt, not your face, but just your shirt with the statue, like with the prize. And I'm like freaking out. I'm so excited for you. But then starts like the processing for us, right? Like you end up getting home, you start sending me some more pictures. We're talking more openly about it. And you're like, yeah, like I won, but like, what do I do? Do I post online about it? Do I share that? Are people going to hate me because I'm a podcast host with a Rick and Morty podcast and I went out and won this thing? And so we kind of chat about that for a while, and we're kind of waiting. We're waiting for Adult Swim to make the first move. And a couple hours, I'd say it was at least a couple hours later, they finally post, not on the Wormageddon website, but straight to their socials, the video. And it's kind of like a drone video of like a long distance shot that sweeps in, and it's all these scenic views of the Rick statue, where it's located. And it's basically like, here is the location. And so as they update the website with that video and they update their socials, they even go as far as to share the address, like where you can go to see this, right? And there's a lot of comments like, oh, I'm going right now, I'm gonna go check this out and all this stuff. And we're sitting here knowing it's been found. Like, it's been found for hours. And we're like, wow, why are they like,
and the website has the tracker for the heads that have been found, and they released that video, it was still like 0 of 9, and like, okay, all right, well, for me it was until Adult Swim pushes it out there, then I'm not gonna be the one to do it. The release, I looked at the release, I'm like, I can talk about it early, but there's honestly a part of me that, like, it's a cool experience. and even though we have this podcast, like I don't want to. Yes, I know I wore our podcast shirt. I wore that because
Props.
I was like, yeah, I'm going to talk to people, and then I'm going to show them my podcast. I'm Gizmos.
It's the same shirt I wear to the Rickmobile. It's the same shirt that we wear to Adult Swim Fest. Like, it is. And honestly, when we go out to any sort of Rick and Morty Central event, it's an icebreaker, and it's a way for us to meet with other fans, meet with listeners of this podcast. And so, yeah, like I asked you as you were driving out there, I'm like, did you bring recording equipment with you? Or did you just have your phone? And you're like, oh, I brought a shotgun mic. I brought this stuff. Because the reality is when we go out to these events, like a huge part of it for us is like capturing what the event is about, because we talk about it. Yeah. It just happened that you were there first.
And that was the intent of this episode. That's what it turned into when we found out that I was in Malibu. Is I was just going to go down there, maybe get some man on the street interviews, and then come back here, edit them real quick, and then we could have them in, and then we could talk about them. Maybe talk to the winner or whatever.
Yeah,
just happened to be the winner is me.
Right. When I went to the Szechuan sauce McDonald's, I did not get sauce, right? But I got to meet a ton of cool fans. I ended up getting to try the sauce because they're like, here, you want to try it? Because I was there. But yeah, like honestly, like, and we'll talk a little bit about the explosion on social media here in a second. But your witness testimonies, right? Your experiences with those fans that you encountered up on that hiking trail. It's so indicative of how great a portion of this fan base can be, right? Like there are a lot of really great people that are fans of Rick and Morty and really enjoy it. Yes, there are a few who, make a bad name for some of the rest of us, but all of our interactions with people and fans of the show have always been so positive, and we've really met a lot of really great people through the course of doing this podcast. And so to see once Adult Swim posted your picture and announced that you were the winner, it was so cool to see so many people just throwing out random congratulations and slaps on the back for that. But also the people that listen to this podcast that were chiming in and being like, holy crap, is that Brandon from Interdimensional RSS? Or like, oh, I've only listened to the show. I had no idea what he looked like. Or people just like defending us. Like when people are like, oh, this guy does a podcast, I'm sure it was an inside job. And then other people being like, he's just a fan that has a great podcast. Like that's so a huge kudos and thank you to anybody who was in those comments that's listening right now. You're amazing. You're amazing.
I do want to give out some shout outs. If I could split this head into a few different pieces, I would split it up for Vinny. I would split it for Vinny. I don't think Danny really cared that much about it. I think he just wanted to be up there, and just that it's a cool experience for him. Shout out, I would give them a piece as well. Maybe like break off a piece of his hair to Shrinopedia, who posted the address there. I said 63% water. Necto FTS posted it as well out there. Yep. And then so those three folks were the ones that I was like, if three people independently are coming up with this address in Malibu, I'm gonna check it out. And I probably wouldn't have if I didn't have that kind of empirical. I don't know if that's empirical. Statistical data.
Yeah.
And then so shout out to them. I'd also break off a piece. And is this getting sexual? I don't know. Break off a piece.
See. Some of that Rick head.
Yeah, break off a piece of that Rick head. I would break off a piece for our buddy Scary Terry Folds, who we met at the original Adult Swim Fest.
Yes.
When the news came out for Wormageddon, it was a scavenger hunt type thing. I talked to him on Instagram, and we were going back and forth to see what was going on with it. And I sent him a message, and I said, hey, somebody found it. Some asshole found it already. And I sent him a picture of me holding it. And he immediately called me and was like, "Dude!" And he was just so excited, and he's just been so great and so supportive. I mean, everyone has been so supportive since day one. But he bought us a beer. I think I still owe him a beer.
Yeah,
He's
we do.
great. So shout out to him.
Well,
And then the Wormageddon subreddit, those badasses out there. My Rick and Morty subreddit moderator buddies out there. I mean, we talk about this all the time. Like, we're fans. We're not the biggest fans. We know there's people out there that are bigger fans than us. And we're happy to be a part of this with you. I certainly am. So anyway,
yeah, yay. So amazing day, fantastic. I'm grateful that we finally got some online haters, because the reality is this podcast hasn't generated enough attention for people to give us a ton of negative comments. So thank you for Rick and Morty's official platform allowing for some negative comments finally. Thank you.
That is a great point, Travis. I said this to somebody on Twitter. I said, "Oh yeah, it was Chase. It was Chase. Chase Botwin is great dude too. He was joking around about like, oh yeah, clearly it was rigged. You had the inside stuff." He was joking, but there are some people that aren't joking about that, and I just gotta tell you, you would think that I'd be like, want to be really defensive, but honestly, I'm kind of flattered that they think that we're anybody of any importance to have any inside knowledge on this stuff. Like, we do this on our own time. We have full-time jobs outside of this podcast, and we're just fans of the show. So
absolutely. Well, speaking of being fans of this show and fans of Wormageddon, we didn't really get to play it in this episode, but next week we will definitely play it so that we can do an update on the status of Wormageddon. But as we transition into a few of my favorite social media comments and then into our final segment, let's go for a real quick Worm update. That's your cue, Brandon. Dang it.
I wasn't ready for it.
All right, let's try it again. Let's go for a real quick Worm update. All right, everybody. Well, as you know, Wormageddon is upon us, and 2 locations have been discovered. The next location, of course, is coming out on August 23rd, a mere 11 hours, just under 12 hours from now. So if you're listening to this, location 3 is probably already open unless you're catching this late over on YouTube. But make sure you're going to rickandmorty.com so that you can get all of the locations and see if there is a Wormageddon location opening up near you. We're gonna transition really quickly to some of my favorite social media comments. Most of these coming from Instagram. These are specifically on the picture of Brandon holding his prize on the official Rick and Morty Instagram. First from Pranumande. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Who thought that was Steve-O. He thought you looked like Steve-O. So, congrats to them.
That would feel more inside baseball.
Yeah. Noodlemon saying, "What a cool man. Look at him. He's just so cool." And then finally at Haas_some.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely Rick. Saying, "Thus dude looks like he works on the show. Inside job." We referenced a lot of those. Totally not an inside
also
job.
Flattered. Flattered.
So flattered.
I'm 40. I think that I'm generally past. Like, I think they're looking for people who are funny and are fresh, and aren't necessarily looking for a guy who just turned 40 and is one step closer to death.
Yes.
I'm not a writer.
No, they need that existential dread for this show. So you got a chance here. I also wanted to point out that there are a lot of people who do not follow this kind of crap as closely as we do. Did that give us an advantage in finding it? Yes, it probably did. But the reality is there are a lot of people who only follow Rick and Morty via one social media platform and maybe only half as much at that, right? So there were a lot of comments that said that seemed to allude to or think that you somehow managed to find this in 20 minutes. And I think the basis for that is they saw the video that got posted on the official platforms where it shows the location and it shows like the big aerial shot and everything where it is. And then 20 minutes later, picture of you holding the statue. So I'm glad that we could set the record straight on this to say, no, you got the clue early in the morning on the website, drove over an hour and around some different neighborhoods, hiked up a hill, got scared by people in the bushes, said hi to a dead dog, and then received this, and that you had it home back in the valley or whatever, like well before they even posted that aerial shot on their social media. So
I had to drive an hour and 15 back to my house before and then like 2 hours later, and they still hadn't posted things. So
not everything on social media, especially official social media channels, is happening in real time. Understand that, ladies and gentlemen. But I think Unity's smart enough to know that and understand that this stuff takes time and planning. So
they're awesome.
I'm excited for the Oklahoma worms. I'm gonna go get those. Oh, you got more shout outs, more short outs?
I have something. It's a worms update.
It's a bop. It's a certified bop.
Over on social media, Ryan Elder, my
good old Ryan.
I yearned to be my best friend. I want to be my best friend so bad. No, he tweeted, "Amazing! I'm so happy you got one." Aw,
what a guy!
Thanks, Ryan.
What a guy!
Thanks,
Ryan.
What a great guy! What a great guy!
Come back on our podcast. Let's talk about music.
Friend of the show, we'll say.
Friend, absolutely friend of the show.
Maybe not my best friend.
We should definitely talk to him. Yeah, again. Anyway, with that, let's do a few quick short outs for the people that joined us tonight live over here on Twitch. Peace Among Ricks, IB Sarah. Let's see, we had Invited Expert, Mr. Dom Cobb, Heath Bar Guy, dropping a lot of comments that made me laugh, but I didn't explicitly shout out during the episode. Just thank you to all of you. D Squeeze was here for a little bit. Just it's so much fun doing this podcast with you guys here live in the chat, kind of becoming part of the show. You can see the entire chat log if you go to youtube.com/apathetic enthusiasm and watch the video version. We keep the chat in the video as well. Thanks to everybody for being a part of this show. And the fun is just beginning, right? We have only a couple of weeks until, season 6 is here. We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about in our next episode. We are going to be looking into season 6 specifically. We expect to have some special guests with us to talk about season 6. So it's gonna be a really fun episode. You do not want to miss it. If you are not already subscribed to the podcast, please subscribe on whatever your podcatcher of choosing is. If you are watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. You can hit the bell notification to get notified when we post those new videos. And hey, why not join the show and be part of it? Put your name in the chat log, right? Head over to twitch.tv/apathetic enthusiasm. Follow us over there, and you can be part of the show when we record on Monday nights. Brandon,
his eyes look like boobies when you really get up really close.
When you get real close to them eye holes. Congratulations. Way to step out. I can't wait to come visit you next month and see it in person and take my own selfies with it and pretend like it's mine, but it's not.
It's not. But you.
One of my favorite comments was saying that you were one of the rich a-holes that lived in one of those houses at the bottom of the hill. I saw that. That was great. I was like, if they only knew. If they only knew.
You know, so I don't know if this is the last thing I'll say. I don't know if my video. I have more than one. If I don't know if my video of the interview, because they got me on video saying a couple things.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll air that at all. Chances are they'll edit it in a way to bits and pieces.
I'm hoping that they're gonna show that video on Adult Swim when the season's on, and you're gonna see that kick-ass podcast logo on your shirt on Adult Swim. To the moon, Brandon. We're taking this podcast to the new level.
Yeah. Don't look. Enough anxiety as it is.
It's gonna be a montage, and you're gonna see Brandon's face for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. What you're not gonna hear on that montage is me saying like, "Oh, hey, you're here. How do you feel?" Like, pretty good. I'm surprised. Surprised the rich assholes haven't gotten rid of me.
Got a little indigestion, if I'm being honest.
Look, I've had this shit for 2 hours, okay? I'm up here. This guy's still sitting on the pot. I'm just trying to get on.
I'm just waiting for my turn.
Come on, man. This is my private place too. It's not very private. You can see the ocean.
You can see the ocean.
Also,
look at, if you're in LA, if you're in the LA area and you want to go see this, it is available. You can go see this for the next couple weeks, I think, right? So
I think the 9th. The 9th of September. This one is in Malibu off of Latigo Canyon Road, 6029 Latigo Canyon Road. It like I said, it looks like it looks scary. I think there's gonna be a sign there. I think Adult Swim was supposed to have a sign out there originally. There wasn't. But I think they're gonna have a sign now, and it might be a little bit busy. So check it out. I think it'll be pretty cool. And we're not going to stop the Wormageddon coverage. I actually care about it now. So
he cares now.
We will cover it every single week with Worms Update. That's right, Worms Update. But until next week, when we talk about our road to season 6, I am Brandon. That, of course, is Travis. Travis, say goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Wormageddon update. 20 minutes. That's how long it took.
20 minutes. Let's take it out. Portal gun. Post show happening. Don't go anywhere, people.